Greetings travelers, I'm Enris Silver, and in today's video we're going to be looking at archived footage of old deleted bases of mine. Most of these bases were built pre-Frontiers when save space was much more limited, so they were sacrificed to the construction limit gods. Here recently, on the same day in fact, I hit 5,000 watch hours and 30,000 views. So this is more just me reminiscing about some of my early builds, taking a little stroll down memory lane. I appreciate everybody's indulgence. And without further ado, let's get to it. My very first all-out glitch build was a Blitzball Arena from Final Fantasy X. It's my favorite side game of all the Final Fantasies, and this planet still to this day has some of the deepest water I've ever found. So I built a 32-sided sphere and kitted it out like a Blitzball Arena. Had a lot of fun with it, and I was quite happy with how it came out. My next build after the Blitzball Arena was a Halloween build where I practiced my pyramid as well as my circular airlock techniques, and towards the end of the build, APG released his tutorial for APG engines, and so of course I had to build one above the top of the pyramid. I called it the Fortress of the Two, and I was really happy with how the finished product came out. I especially enjoyed building the Exomech garage at the very tip of the pyramid. Had a lot of fun playing around with that. My next build was for the PBF APG challenge. I called it Megamech vs. Hover Tank. The challenge part of the build was that you had a limited list of build pieces that could be used. I used only those pieces and all of the pieces allowed in the build. The PBF didn't think too much of it, but I had a lot of fun with this, and this build probably taught me more about building than any other one I've done. I learned so much making this build, and like I said, had a great time doing it. Next up is an outpost design that I came up with and started building these on planets that had stabilized glitches to give me a place to go back to and rest and recuperate. I did this before I even knew what the construction limit was and didn't realize how dear piece count was, so once I hit my first construction limit, all of these got deleted. But this is how I used to build my outposts. Next up is my first build that I live streamed entirely. I called it Live and Let Dive. I found a planet with really deep holes that had water in the bottom, so I built a series of high dives above it and invited people to come and jump off. Mr. Witchblade, Conflicted Gaming came and spent a traumatic Tuesday here, had themselves a lot of fun as well. The first way to make the drop was a simple diving board, about 20 seconds down to the water. Another way was I built something called the No Fun Zone, which I advertised as a place for people who didn't want to jump to go. However, once you went up there, a trapdoor opened and dropped you anyway. Everybody had fun. I also built a group drop, where a bunch of people could all sit in the middle of the room, hit the button, and all fall together. And finally, I built the highest high dive, which was a drop from outer space. This took about a minute and a half to hit the bottom. Next up is my first ever build in creative. I built this for Beelbum's Space Challenge, and I built a rocket about to take off from a crater. At the bottom of the crater there was a cave that I built a reactor in, as well as a EM hotspot on a hill a little ways away, and below that EM hotspot was more caves, so I built more refiners and reactors down there as well. In the side of a hill nearby, I built a bunker that would serve as a command and control center for the launch. The next build on the list is the Technology Overload Recovery Center, or TORC, that I built. And honestly, I don't remember deleting this build. I went looking for it one day, couldn't find it, looked across all my saves, and it is nowhere to be found. So I'm not quite sure why I deleted it. I know I built it in survival, and it was built for the Ides of Spring iSub event, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really cool to get that pathway built, and I incorporated a nice, fun little twist to the end of the video as well. Now, Beeblebum Space Challenge was submitted as a completed project, but I wasn't quite what I had wanted it to be. So I went back and finished it out. Added some laser shielding around the rocket, and I rebuilt the command and control center as well to be a bit more streamlined and what I had pictured in my head. I'm really glad I went back and finished it up. It came out looking really good. The next build was done for a micro challenge in Beeblebum server that was simply build something with triangles. So I did. The build is entitled Triangles. And this is the first build that I incorporated this door design in, and I really liked it. I have used it in several other builds. I really like the visuals on it. The next build I did for Cue Ball Gaming's Halloween Challenge last year, and this is called Fortress of the Worm Lord. Now, this one was challenging in the fact that I had to get those walkways running up at an angle into the main structure. I had a lot of fun designing the interior of the main structure as well, and the walkways leading up to it also incorporate that power door design that I came up with. I had a lot of fun putting this throne room together, and the only exit from this entire structure is the SRT in the corner, and the power to that is controlled by a switch from the throne. So only the boss lets people out. The next build is a puzzle build I did called Path of Damnation, and before I deleted it, I went ahead and shot a video of me walking all the way through it and revealing all the secrets of the puzzles. This next build was done for another Beeblebum's micro challenges, and it was to build something inside a cuboid. So I made a max-sized cuboid and built a 3-floor research station inside of it, called it Cuboid Madness. And the final build in this video is a racetrack that I built on Miyogi's Helpers Party planet. I called it the Spelunker 500 because it runs through a cave system. And I had a lot of fun building it, but render issues made it a bit iffy to run. So that's why it got deleted. And that's gonna do it. If you're still here, thank you so much for indulging in my nostalgia. I had a lot of fun going back through these old bases. We're going to finish it up with some screenshots of another Beeble Challenge micro build to build a synthesizer. I never made a video about this, but here's a still shot or two about it. Thanks to everybody still here. I appreciate you sticking around and indulging my nostalgia. As a little bonus, I've got pics of the only build I never finished. It was for iSub's Eos Rising event. I was going to build a chariot with a horse attached, but I got halfway through building the horse, and I hit 3,000 build pieces. I was never going to finish the build, and then Frontiers dropped, and building changed. There was no point in finishing it. Plus, the horse looked pretty bad. Thank you very much for every single one of those 5,000 watch hours and 30,000 views. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.